Good afternoon. We're live here on the show floor at Cloud Expo in New York City. Sitting next to me is Darryl from NetAccess, and they are specialized in managed services and co-location data centers. How are you, Darryl? How's the show been for you?
Good, Vanessa. Good. Thank you.
Fantastic. As you know, this is the 14th Cloud Computing Expo. It seems that cloud has been going on for quite some time now. Data centers are a big component of cloud computing. What's been NetAccess' experience in the last couple of years in terms of increased growth and business, what you're seeing amongst your customers?
Yeah, what we're seeing a lot of in the growth factor is we're seeing more of the enterprise class customers building a hybrid type solution that combines space and power for their stuff, as well as expanding into managed services where companies like ourselves provide that full managed virtual private cloud, dedicated private cloud type infrastructure on equipment they don't need to buy, but it has to work together. And that's been a lot of challenge so far with cloud because it's great for some things on the public side, but people still have a desire or a need to keep things on their own equipment or on equipment that's dedicated to them. It could be policies, it could be security reasons, it could be anything like compliance reasons. So it's very good.
Okay, and so cloud, as we know, has some of challenges or perceived challenges in some of those areas that a lot of enterprises are still concerned about. How do you address some of those concerns with enterprises, or you have it seems like a selection of different kinds of services?
Yeah, my answer is Lego blocks. If you've got the right kind of Lego blocks, you can piece them all together and build what the customer needs. So you got standardized Lego blocks and components. And that seems to be the answer to get around some of those concerns.
So have you seen in the last few years a decrease in data center build-outs from some of large enterprises, just simply because of the fact that cloud has come into mainstream?
I would say less and less people are using or building their own data center facilities or taking wholesale space. And more are starting to leverage the technology. Cloud technology allows you to get density, right? So that's like more equipment per square foot, save on space and power themselves. And owning and operating these things is really hard. Power is the biggest concern. We saw a lot of that with the outages over the past few years. And everybody has a different answer, but at the end of the day, the power companies are really not up to it. So building a data center that has power from two people, two sets of battery banks and UPS and conditioning, specialized cooling, extra banks of generators not lying around with contracts for fuel, it's a big challenge. So I think on that side, we're seeing less enterprises going the route of do-it-yourself.
And that's always a big challenge. A lot of data center operators are not in charge of facilities. And the things you just mentioned are part of facilities, energy, power and cooling, and so on and so forth. So they're just not prepared for that. Yeah. So in terms of being at the show, what have been some of the trends that you've seen in the last couple of days? Are customers sort of now getting it, or do you feel like we're still in an education phase?
I think we're out of the education phase. We've definitely moved into the adoption phase there. Education-wise, we're seeing some of the smaller people coming in and say, I need cloud, or they want the on-demand. But when you get more into the enterprise IT, they still talk about virtualization. So there's a bit of education around the cloud technology. I always say cloud is a technology, it's not a product. Right, it's a technology, it's a tool that can be used or leveraged to automate things so you can get economies of scale, whether that be in a large-scale environment like an Amazon or a Google or a Rax or a SoftLayer has done, or whether it be in a smaller engagement where the enterprise is leveraging technology to do that with some of their own stuff, some of their own hardware. So there's a bit of education, but mostly now the trends are around, what components can I use? There's a lot more interest, when we're talking to them, say, you're a data center guy? So we'll actually we build and operate our own data centers. The electricians and the guys that look after generators are actually on staff. And we also sell managed services. So they're like, so I don't have to go to somebody else to do that. So that one-stop shopping kind of logic is coming back together again that we used to see in the past, where they're starting to see, I can use cloud technology, and you have an offer that uses cloud technology, so I can self-provision stuff myself and have a certain level of control, but I don't have the overhead of owning the asset or having to have the skills to make this stuff work, because making it work is still hard from an operational perspective. It's always about support and operations, right? That's the challenge.
It is a challenge. So in terms of net access, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about your offering and where they can reach you and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so Net Access are a data center provider in Parsippany outside of New York. We're close enough to New York to be safe, and we're further enough away, close enough to New York for you to commute to, but further enough away to be safe. We offer a full suite of managed services, dedicated servers, virtualized private cloud, a dedicated private cloud, as well as high-density co-location with very high-class power capabilities.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show.